What is going on, everyone? Nathan here, bringing you a Gary's Mod Trouble in Terrorist Town tips and tricks video, and in this video I will be covering the innocent out of the three categories that you can become in Trouble in Terrorist Town: the innocent, the traitor, and the detective. Once again, we are going to be covering the innocent in this video, which is actually the most complicated class because there are things to worry about, and you kind of have to cover both offense and defense when you're in innocent, so there's just a lot of stuff to cover, you know, weapons, strategy, and all that stuff. So yeah, this will be the first out of 3 videos. Hopefully I can get the traitor ones and then the detective one up soon as well. So yeah, let's get into tips and tricks for innocent in Trouble in Terrorist Town. Okay, so just for a little bit of pretext to this entire commentary, these are going to be random tips that are going to cover big topics and small topics, and they're not going to be in any particular order. So first off here, we will start with the best weapons. Oh, and by the way, I'm making this commentary assuming you know the rules of Trouble in Terrorist Town, but do not have that much experience, so this is just covering tips that you should know upfront before really hardcore getting into this game mode. It's very, very fun, and when you play it hardcore or mess around, you know, it's just the same kind of fun. So anyway, let's start out with a big topic to cover in Trouble in Terrorist Town, and this covers all classes, what weapons to choose. Now, personally, my favorite weapons to go with is either the M249 for your primary, actually probably the M249 for your primary, and then my second favorite is the M16, once again as an innocent. For a traitor, depending on the map, I love the sniper rifle, but definitely the best weapons to go for when you're innocent is the M249 and then the M16, and then for your secondary you should be using the Deagle, being that has the capability of one-shotting players by headshotting them, so you definitely want a powerful secondary. Even if it doesn't have a large rate of fire, it's definitely useful for those situations where maybe you need to headshot somebody when they're not moving, so you definitely don't want to make like a huge ruckus by just firing your M249 and putting 15 shots into the guy when you can just one-shot him, so definitely carry around the Deagle as your secondary. So that is just touching a little bit on the weapons, but those are really the ones I would suggest, and you don't really have to get into the topic too much. I mean, like, shotgun is obviously good for close quarters, but definitely good weapons that cover all distances, small, long range, or small range, short range, long range, and medium range is the M16, M249, so definitely stick with those. Really, honestly, you just can't go wrong with those weapons, which is really why I like them, because the shotgun doesn't have long distance, and the M16 could accomplish the same thing as the shotgun in close quarters. So those are definitely my favorites, but that's all I will get into in that topic. Alright, so let's cover another big topic, and I know I said weapons was a big topic, but I just choose not to really go into those too much, but another big topic is that when you're innocent, you have 3 types of playstyles you can choose. The first, well actually, let's make that 4, being there's sort of a sub-playstyle, another little mini category, but basically, you have 3 options available. You can either roam around by yourself, you can hide by yourself, well, okay, so let's actually break this up into 6 total. So you can either roam around by yourself, you can hide by yourself, you could roam around with a small group of people, let's say like one other person, or you could hide with that person, and then you can roam around with a large group of people, or you could hide with a large group of people, although the last option just doesn't happen that much. I mean, people in large groups don't just stay still. People always have to be moving in video games, so that's just kind of how it goes. So let's cover each of these 6 options to determine which is best and what should be your playstyle when playing as an innocent. Now, all of these options are completely viable, but I have my personal favorites, so my opinions are a little bit biased. But other than that, so let's just work from backwards to forwards. So you can be in a large group of players. Now, there are pros and cons to every option. The pros of being in a large group is that traitors cannot usually kill a big group of players gun on gun, because usually there's only going for every 5 people you have in a server, I think there's like 1 traitor. So if you take a random 5 people from a server, there's going to be probably 1 person in that big group, and obviously that 1 guy cannot win a gunfight versus 4 other people. So that is a definite pro in walking around in a large group. However, traitors are more effective with indirect methods of killing, and one of those is C4. Now, C4 can obviously kill a large group of people very easily. However, with the large group of people, you can also hear better. You have more sets of ears. It could also be argued that C4 might be better for attacking large groups of people, because even though there are more sets of ears, you could actually set it a little bit away where no one would hear, but that's still not very probable. But large groups tend to actually, after spectating a lot in Trouble in Terrorist Town, large groups of people tend to not necessarily sit in one place, but they kind of patrol an area. And C4 is still pretty effective even with this large group of people walking around. It's just people tend to stick in the same area. They don't really move a ton, even though they're never really sitting still. So I personally would say that C4 is a viable option against a large group of people. So that's just one thing you got to be aware of, is that I would say that C4 is very effective against large groups of people. So that's kind of the con to that whole deal. But you really have to sort out your alliances with large groups of people as well. Make sure you trust everyone. It's just really more people to keep track of, more stress, making sure you're watching everyone. So yeah, that's kind of just the bad side of walking around in large groups. So overall, I would say that large groups are probably the second best option available, or a playstyle to play when in Trouble in Terrorist Town as an innocent. Now let's go forward, or rather backwards one step, and this is the worst possible option I think you could do. It's really a hit or miss option in Trouble in Terrorist Town, and that is walking around with one or two people, especially just one person, unless you know that one person that you're walking around with is completely trustworthy, or is your friend. Maybe you're ghosting or something, I don't even know. But unless they are completely trustworthy, I would definitely suggest not doing that, because that one person can RDM you or kill you if they're a traitor, and no one will ever know. Just walking around in pairs is a completely bad idea. I have had my share of I've been in a house by myself thinking I was just walking around by myself, and it turns out that another person is in that house, and it turns out that one person is a traitor. Traitors look for people by themselves. Now, they also try to pair up with people and try to get them by themselves. So that's definitely just a hit. Well, okay, so here's why it's a hit or miss for the innocents. If you have a completely trustworthy friend, it's really hard for a traitor to kill you when it's 2v1. Usually he could probably take out one of you before you or your friend take out him, but if it turns out that the person that you're hanging out with is a traitor, you are just done for. He has complete control over that engagement, and you'll most likely be taken in the back, in the head. So definitely advise against the 1v1 thing unless the person that you're walking around with is completely trustworthy. Even if people are proven innocent and you're walking around with them, once again, there is still just that small tiny chance of RDM, and you're never completely safe. And moving on to my favorite playstyle as an innocent in Trouble in Terrorist Town is walking around, roaming, or hiding by yourself. And this is just, to me, it's the best tactic, simply because I don't want to keep track of a lot of alliances or who's trustworthy, who's not. I would just much rather be by myself and hide and make sure that I'm the only person I need to look after. But there are some pros and cons with this as well. First of all, the pro is that, once again, you don't need to keep track of everybody around you. You don't need to be suspicious. It's just that if you pass somebody, you have to treat them as if they're 99% a traitor and just be extremely cautious. But the con to walking around by yourself is that if you do end up passing that guy in the hallway, once again, as I said before, traitors can take 1v1 fights, no problem. You will probably end up dead if that person that you walk by is a traitor. But I personally have a playstyle where I always try to be just near a group of people, so that if I am killed, I'm probably seen a little bit, or my killer's seen for a little bit, or I'm in or near a room that I can escape to, so that I can run away, or get in a more position of advantage type of deal, where at least I have a chance of fighting back before the traitor kills me. So that is definitely my favorite playstyle, and another thing I wanted to tell you guys is that do not be afraid to hide if you are by yourself. There's no shame in hiding in this game mode, simply because that is the only and best way to survive as an innocent, is hiding, because if nobody can find you, that means that the traitors will literally lose the round, being they are on a time clock and you're not. So yeah, it's really boring, but if you actually want to win the round for sure, that is the surefire way to win around. So that's really the biggest part of Trouble in Terrorist Town, in my opinion, is your playstyle, and then definitely the weapons to choose, being those are, things that you're going to be using all the time, so you definitely want to be good in both of those aspects. But in terms of like some small tips to talk about in Trouble in Terrorist Town, always be evaluating who you're sticking with or who you see. Use logic to make sound decisions. For example, I was playing on something Rooftops V2, I don't remember the exact name of the map, but basically I was one of 5 people left and 2 guys were sticking together, and even though they could have very well been innocent, I saw one of them kill a guy. I can't remember the situation exactly, but basically the fact that they were both sticking together when it was down to 5 people was very, very suspicious, and once I shot my gun to just kind of scare shoot to see how they would react, they actually looked over, and one of the guys started walking towards me, so I actually shot him in the head, and at the end of the round, it turned out that both of them were traitors. Now, if I did RDM, then yeah, that was RDM, but I was using logic to make that decision, because I knew that at that point in the round, the traitors would probably be sticking together to take people 2v1, so once I knew that a guy might be going towards me, then I felt I had enough logic or suspicion to definitely shoot him in the head. But yeah, it's decisions like those that you really have to be conscious of, and you always have to evaluate who you see, who you're sticking with, and how have they acted in the past, how have they acted during the current round that you're in, because some people have dead giveaways over the mic and just how they behave even if they don't have a mic. If somebody's getting really, really close to you with like a shotgun or a sniper, that's definitely sending off warning bells, and you just have to develop these internal warning bells almost by instinct, that if you see somebody with a sniper approaching you really close, you just say get away and you get out of there, because most likely they're up to something that's just not good for you. So definitely be suspicious, use logic, and have those internal warning bells go off. Another big tip for Trouble in Terrorist Town is to always be checking the scoreboard, whether you're innocent, traitor, or detective. The scoreboard will tell you loads of information that you can use in your game. It will tell you how many traitors have died. Now, obviously, you need to identify bodies to get the scoreboard to be accurate, but if you see that, let's say, 4 traitors are dead on a 20-person server, you know that there's 1 traitor left, so maybe you have a little bit more of a go-ahead to kill people. Maybe you don't need enough suspicion, being it's only 1 more person left, and if you do kill that 1 person, then the game has ended. So, it's just stuff like that you can acquire from the scoreboard. You can see if your detectives are alive, if they can give you a health station, stuff like that, and you definitely have to check that scoreboard. One more small tip is that you can actually lock doors in this game simply by mashing E on them, so that it's always doing the handle thing to open and close the door, and I'll actually feature a clip of that right now. Basically, in this clip, I was locking myself in this room against this guy. I knew he was probably a traitor, like 99%, but he ended up throwing a discombobulator, throwing my mouse off of the door, and then killing me. But yeah, you can actually lock doors, so be aware of that too, and beware of discombobulators. 2 more sort of miscellaneous small tips is that never turn your back on somebody. There's kind of like a code of conduct that you should always be following. Now, obviously, everyone cannot follow this code at all times, being, you can't, for example, always be the last one through the door, which is highly advisable, being people can shoot you in the back at any time. But, always try to be the last one through a hallway or a door or whatever, and always, never turn your back back to another player, because they will take you in the head instantly. It has happened so many times, and that is how traders get most innocents, is through the back. So definitely always, check behind you too, see who's following you. Maybe try to walk a fake route and then see if somebody is actually following you. It will do you a load of good to just check behind you every once in a while. So that is definitely a good tip. It also follows with that tip, just be aware of your surroundings. Obviously, just be checking all directions, especially behind you, because most people will take you from behind. So another really small tip is if you do end up RDMing somebody and they accuse you of RDM, you have to defend your logic and argument with all you have, because people can be really pissed off at RDM. But if you do have enough suspicion and your logic is good, you can defend that wholeheartedly, and usually people will back down if they think your argument is good enough. So yeah, I personally have been accused a couple of times, and if you just speak over the mic, say your reasons, and once people realize what your reasons were, well, then they'll just kind of back down. But definitely defend your perspective. And that will wrap up this tip video for the innocents in Trouble in Terrorist Town. I will probably put an annotation or link in description of the Trader and Detective tips and tricks for Trouble in Terrorist Town once they are uploaded. Obviously they're not going to be uploaded the day I upload this, so it will have to be a little bit later. But yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a rating. I always appreciate that, and I say it every video. And if you're new to my channel, feel free to subscribe for Team Fortress 2 and some Trouble in Terrorist Town. Those are the two games that I mainly play right now. So yeah, both of those games will be featured on my channel as it is right now. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video, and as always, peace out.